she has an agenda, and that is to not only tarnish Israel, but to, in the future, like people from CARE or the Muslim Brotherhood, like we see in certain areas in Europe, they would like to eliminate Israel as a Jewish state. And to do that, she had to do what many people in that Muslim Brotherhood or CARE community do, is they start to say things about Jews. That Jews are somehow not loyal to the United States of America, which of course is not true. You can support Israel and love your country, as we all do here, and love your country first. This is obvious. Speaker Pelosi should have condemned her. She didn't. She failed us as Speaker. Matter of fact, when people suggested, well, okay, why don't you condemn anti-Semitism? Because this was the source of all of what was happening in the House. She couldn't even do that. She didn't have the ability to do that. And that's because there were caucuses within her party that were unwilling to sign on to a condemnation of anti-Semitism in and of itself as a standalone declaration. Couldn't do it. If it was the Black Caucus, if it was the Progressive Socialist Caucus, if it was the influences of the Cortez Quartet or the Muslim CARE influence, she wasn't able to do it, either because she wasn't able or because she didn't want to. It reflects very bad about certain constituencies in her party. But she failed us. She had a chance to condemn Omar. She didn't. She had a chance to condemn standalone by itself anti-Semitism. She didn't. She failed us. This is not something that was happening in the street. This was happening in the House of Representatives. She's the Speaker of the House. She had a chance. This moment in history, she had a chance. This was a turning point to stand up and do what was right, what was just, what was fair, and she didn't. She capitulated, or she appeased, or she put politics first. She said, listen, we want to win elections, and more important than stopping anti-Semitism is to win elections, and we need these groups to win the elections. Well, this is not the American way, and this is certainly not bold, this is not courageous, and so all this talk about being against anti-Semitism, it's usually only if it's from the right, but it comes from the left. It seems that people like Pelosi and others in her party are okay because victory at elections is more important than anti-Semitism, so that's why we're here. Another thing that was in the resolution that was quite disturbing was the mention. What happened was that they said, well, anti-Semitism and all types of hate, including Islamophobia. The implication was that those people that criticized Omar for the anti-Semitic remarks are somehow guilty of Islamophobia. No way. Are we not allowed to criticize someone simply because they're Muslim if that person is spewing forth anti-Jewish remarks or anti-Christian remarks? Do not we as Jews count as individuals, as a people? Do not Christians count? What this resolution basically says is you better remain silent, because if you respond to anti-Semitic remarks coming out of the mouth of an Islamic congresswoman or a member of the Islamic community that you're Islamophobic, you're racist somehow, well, that's a formula for silencing us all. Yes. We will remain defenseless. That's not how we do it in America. So we're here to give this letter to Speaker Pelosi. We think that Omar should be censored, and we think that she should be removed from the House Foreign Affairs Committee. House Foreign Affairs Committee will be a platform for this young lady to spew forth all of her anti-Israel pronouncements as part of her agenda. I don't know why Pelosi put this young person on the most prestigious committee right away after just 1 or 2 months. I think that Ms. Omar is here to destroy Israel as a Jewish state and to malign all of us, Jews, Christians, Americans, atheists who believe in and support Israel. She's here to try to stop that. Dangerous woman. Pelosi had a chance to stand tall, to do what's right. She failed America. This is the people's house, and she's allowed the people's house to have the stench, the odor of anti-Semitism.
That is just not true. She is not anti-Semitic.
Here with you. Oh, how are you? So why don't we...
Can I give the letter? My name is Rabbi Aryeh, and I'm pleased to come here, my other woman. I am the president of Middle Eastern Women's Coalition, and I was the victim of Sharia law in the Middle East. And I'm fighting against Sharia law. Those women knows that. As a woman, girls living in the Middle East, it was very difficult. I witnessed child marriages, little of girls being sold into sexual slavery every single day. Gays being executed under the Sharia law. And Jewish and Christian beheading. And I have a message. We came here to remind Nancy Pelosi. I have a great concern as a Middle Eastern woman who stand with America, who stand with Israel, who stand with freedom. I have a great concern. I have a feeling Ilhan Omar promote Sharia law and her heart with Sharia law. And I'm asking all American for resign. I'm reminding here today, and thank you, Rabbi.
Yes.
Please give us voice as a Middle Eastern woman who knows Sharia law, who lived under the Sharia law and Islamic regime, who fight against. Please listen to our voice, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We agree with you, and I just want to make one more point. One more point. I am sure that Representative Omar supports the Islamic states, 57 Islamic states, yet no one questioned her loyalty to America because she supports Islamic states.
He is encouraging.
Okay.
Terrorism, encouraging.
Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you, sir. This is our coalition. We are standing with
I wouldn't engage with this kind of person. This is a low class person who's self-hating and needs a psychiatrist. I wouldn't engage.
I'm assertive like you, so that's nasty.
Not nice and
If I'm
loving
assertive like you,
I'm a peace person, not like you.
Right, like you disrupted our circle last week. That was loving.
Oh, definitely.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We are Christian.
Hi, I'm Rabbi Spero from the National Conference of Jewish Affairs. We'd like to speak to Congresswoman Pelosi if we could.
We just had a press conference at the calling on the resident Ilhan Omar.
There's a Muslim woman here. Maybe you could
Is
talk
she
to
from
her.
Iran or?
She was a Turkish journalist undercover. She's.
Why do you think Ilhan
I'd
Omar
rather you cheer.
Sure, fantastic.
National Conference. I'm not from San Francisco, but she's Speaker of the House.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes, House of Representatives for all of us.
From the
National Conference of Jewish Affairs.
Women are suffering in the Middle East. And she is encouraging, and she doesn't, because she's not saying
She's not
nothing.
even from the Middle East.
She's using her platform to promote.
Silence is killing us.
She's with care. C-A-I-R, with care.
Have you ever heard Ilhan Omar say anything about
She's
Sharia law?
100% with them. She's wonderful. She's right on with them.
Did you say what? She said that she hates Israel. She never said she hates Israel.
Just don't hear what you don't want to hear.
You don't hear the real words. She never said she hates Israel.
You can see, don't fight with them.
What, do you think Palestinians should have rights?
Study her records and ask those questions. Study her records and ask those questions.
We call upon Speaker Pelosi.
Study her records. You're ignorant. Study her records.
Don't fight with them.
Study her records, morons.
Human rights.
Study her records.
Why don't you answer some of the questions that they've been asking you?
President ever.
Why don't you answer?
Best president. Trump is the best president we ever had.
Oh my goodness.
You've lived in Muslim countries. You have no idea what you're facing.
And Ilhan Omar, you think supports Sharia law?
100%.
100%.
100%.
Have you ever heard
She opposed legislation to ban clitoral circumcision.
You guys, look, Rabbi.
Then she made it go long everything I'm not allowed to
What's happening here?
What's that? Yes, we're here to protest Speaker Pelosi's resolution. She had a resolution passed where she should have condemned Representative Omar for anti-Semitic remarks. Not once, not twice, but on 3 occasions she didn't. Then they thought perhaps they would condemn anti-Semitism. They were not able to condemn anti-Semitism on their own as a standalone infraction, as a standalone sin. They wouldn't do it. She's the speaker, and she didn't do it because she had to cave and appease to certain constituencies in the Democrat Party. If it was the Black Caucus or the Progressive Caucus, which is socialist, some of the people in the Cortez Quartet, the Cortez Trio, and of course the people from CARE and the Muslim community. She had a chance to do what was right in history and condemn anti-Semitism in the House, the People's House, but she didn't do it because she appeased and she was more interested in political victory with her constituencies than doing what's right. She's allowed the House to be soiled with an anti-Semitic odor. Terrible. She failed us.
Thank you. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Omar must go. Hey, hey, ho, ho.
Code Pink hates all of the things that are good. They hate the United States and they hate Israel. A lot of them are self-hating Jews. We've seen this before throughout our history. I never see them out there against terrible things that are happening in 56 or 57 of the Muslim countries. Maybe about Saudi Arabia because President Trump is trying to have a partnership with Saudi Arabia. That's all part of the anti-Trumpism on their part. But it's very selective. It's only to bring down Israel, only to bring down America. And these are self-hating Jews.
Good job. Good turnout.
Thank you for coming.
No, happy New Year.
Thank you for spending.
I'm sorry you couldn't come, but we really stand with you.
Omar must go.
Omar must go.
Omar must go.
Are you afraid?
Omar must go.
Are you afraid?
Omar must go. Omar must go.
We need Jews for Ilhan.
Code Pink, you need a psychiatrist. A team of psychiatrists for you.
Here we are. This is the
Sickest people I've ever seen.
Let's come out and have you read that letter.
Don't call yourself a Jew. You're not a Jew. I am a Jew hater. She's a Jew hater.
You must be a Jew.
But he's very disappointed in the Speaker and especially the Democrat Party for not being able to stand up in the time of need, in this moment of history, and condemn anti-Semitism in and of itself. You know, we can always count on them to condemn anti-Semitism if it comes to the right, from the right. That's not because they care about anti-Semitism. That's because it's a chance for them to, you know, condemn the right wing. But when it comes to the left, I don't know where Pelosi has been. When it comes to anti-Semitism from the left, all these liberal groups are silent. The Democrat Party has just shown that it's silent. So I don't think they're against anti-Semitism per se. They use it as a political device when they can hurt the right. But if it comes from their people, they just overlook it. It's okay. And we're very disappointed. That's why we got Judea Pearl, the father of Daniel Pearl, who was killed by the Islamists. Remember? He was the Wall Street Journal reporter, and they sliced his throat like they slaughtered him as a sacrifice. His father's a Democrat. He found this reprehensible. And he's from the area of Oakland, which is very close to Speaker Pelosi's district.
I have a great concern.
Robbie?
And I want to remind
Robbie.
Nancy Pelosi.
You're going to read the letter. Read Daniel Pearl's
Can I
letter.
have the letter? Yes.
You're going to read the letter? Okay.
We're hearing from Daniel Pearl's father, so if you have a little respect, Code Pink, that would be
This is Daniel's father. As a president of the Daniel Pearl Foundation and lifelong Democrat, I urge Speaker Nancy Pelosi to act boldly and decisively on Representative Ilhan Omar anti-Semitic bigotry. Our late son, Daniel Pearl, was not an Islamophobe. not a foreign agent or trader or Benjamins. He was a principled American journalist, a champion for the truth and relentless peace seeker who was murdered for being a Jew and lover of Israel. I plead with Speaker Pelosi to read the House of Representatives of the new form of bigotry directed again at Jews and lovers of Israel. Words matter, and hateful words pronounced by Representative Ilhan Omar will continue to haunt and position the future of American Jew. However, we are concerned not merely with the harsh consequences of those words, but with obsessive hatred that produced them and ultimate purpose which they were enhanced. American support for the state of Israel, the miracle state that symbolized Jewish history and Jewish aspirations. We stand here to remind Speaker Pelosi of words she has spoken many times in the past, that U.S. support for Israel is not only a matter of mutual interest, the shared values. American support of the homeland for Jewish people is a moral imperative in a historical calling that should be not polluted with accusations of dual loyalty or greed. The resolution passed by the House on March 9 condemns almost every form of hate and art except one anti-Zionist hatred waged against our brothers and sisters in Israel. 6.5 million refugees who have been denied normally from the past 7 years. Hostile neighbors and confronted by daily existential threats from Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran. The anti-Zionist obsession that Representative Omar now brings to the House of the Congress to strip the 6.5 million from sovereignty and abandon them stateless and mercy and genocidal neighbors. Americans cannot allow such a moral deformity to stain halves of the representative government. The Democratic Party must remain welcoming home many American Jews who have interests and their energies, talents, and dreams of this party. We urge Speaker Pelosi to find Ilhan Omar unfit to serve on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Respectfully, Judea Pearl, the President Daniel Pearl Foundation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sorry for my accent, but you hear my heart.
I just want to make one more remark. Representative Omar said that Jews who support Israel, which are most Jews, most sensible, sane Jews, support Israel. We have some self-haters among the Jewish people, no question. But she accused us of dual loyalty. We are loyal first and foremost to America. Support for Israel has nothing to do with not loving America. But I want to ask Representative Omar something. I am sure that she supports the 57 Islamic states. Should we now conclude, because she supports those states, that she has the guilt of dual loyalty, that she cannot be loyal to America because she supports the 57 Islamic states? Just the other day, she was in the country of Eritrea in Africa. Terrible, oppressive country. Blatant human rights violations, second to North Korea in violations. She tweeted that it's wonderful to see the peace and the progress. There's no peace and progress there, but because it's a Muslim country or because it's a communist country, because, listen, Omar has very socialist, communist tendencies, that somehow that was all fine with her. It's all whitewashed. I could say, listen, she's got such obsessive loyalty to the Islamic countries that how can she be loyal to America? We didn't make that accusation about her, but she made it about the Jewish community. She doesn't deserve to be in the People's House in the Congress of the United States.
And one thing, silence is killing us. Nancy Pelosi, please condemn Sharia law and please don't allow someone promote Sharia law in the Congress, because I was the victim of Sharia law, and we are suffering.
If Nancy Pelosi cares so much about women's rights, she will condemn Sharia law, because Sharia law is the single most legislative set of laws against women's rights, as we understand rights for women.
Thank you.
Shalom, shalom, everybody.
Omar must go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Omar must go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Omar must go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Omar must go.
Thanks for listening. Please, we have a great concert.
There's no
9 times. The Jews have it better in Israel. Excuse me, the Muslims have it better in Israel than in any Islamic country.
Come on, take a trip. Educate yourself. I have taken a trip. And I've seen apartheid in Israel.
Oh, Nancy Pelosi, they just called her Pussy Pelosi.
Nobody called her.
My pussy is feminist by that.
Of course, but I know like you.
Oh, what kind of
I'm
feminist?
better than you because I defend pro-life. You don't. You don't.
Do you defend the rights of Palestinians?
The rights of Palestinians, they have to defend themselves like I defend myself, okay? And then I'm not how's your mentality. You say stop Islamophobia. Why you don't say stop
infanticide?
Why you don't go for pedophilia? Why you don't stop pedophilia? Because you like them.
Sequitur, ma'am? Have you ever heard of a non sequitur?
Instead of coming back with your ignorant statements, why don't you answer some of the stuff that they're coming at you and saying? All you guys do is let's
say something
and don't
together.
answer anything.
No to pedophilia.
No pedophilia! No pedophilia! No pedophilia! Wait, are you happy now?
Are you happy? Was that good?
What's your question again, ma'am?
Sharia law has taken hold in this country. Just a minute. Sharia law has taken a hold in this country.
No, it hasn't.
And it has too.
I think
and it is being practiced. I have the facts. Sharia
Just because
law
they're Muslims doesn't mean they're Sharia law.
female genital mutilation has practiced in this country, and Ilhan Omar has totally for this.
Yeah.
She has backed up Sharia law ideas.
Like
And
what?
you
Can
are
you give me
being
an
very naive not to know this, because
you
she's
give
not
me an
for women.
example, please?
You think she's for women?
Can I have an
Oh my
example?
goodness.
Yes.
We are for women. The Middle East Women's Coalition is totally for women, for the freedom of our country.
So
it was established on principles, the Constitution, biblical principles, not on Sharia law
yes,
principles.
biblical principles
We want
be
the
paramount
freedom in our
women's
country.
rights.
We don't want socialism. We don't want
Please give us one example of how Ilhan Omar is supporting Sharia law. Just one example.
She has allowed and written laws to encourage female genital mutilation.
She condemned. She condemned Sharia law. Is she condemned? She is. Listen to me. If you're silent, if you see something, if you silence, you committed in the crime. Blow out your hand too.
Okay,
Because
so
she
give me
has
an
to.
example of what she's
Because
done.
I take my
Has
veil off.
this woman you're together, has she written legislation for female genital mutilation like this woman just said?
Excuse me. I'm asking you.
Yes. She is it yes or no?
Yes,
Please
She's
don't
on the record.
On the record. I'm talking about. Do you have a child? Do you have a daughter?
Yes,
I'm telling you,
and
7-year-old girls being sold into sexual slavery.
And what does
in
this have
Iran.
to do? Yeah,
Yes,
and
have to do your woman. Defend true victim.
Yeah.
Don't let the people promote Sharia law. We are not suffering. We are suffering. Shame on you.
You're so young to understand things, you know.
My goodness.
You don't know, we want your good. We want the
You are no
freedom
mother.
for women in this country. We love the women in this country.
Me too. That's why when someone hates, because code pink
This
loves
is
me.
about protecting our country, protecting our women.
We're here to
This is
support
not
a
about the
woman.
destruction of women. I lived in the Middle East for 35 years, and I saw heads cut off and acid thrown on women's faces because they didn't submit to their men. Do you know what the great Satan, we're called the great Satan in the USA by Sharia law people? Do you know
By
why?
Sharia law people.
By the
Sharia law. How do I sign up to be a Sharia law person?
No, you know why? Do you know why? Why don't you go pray at the Wailing Wall? Women aren't in
You yell at
submission to
people,
men.
she's still young.
This is it. Why don't you pray at the Wailing Wall if women are so free?
We pray at the Wailing Wall.